Hey, welcome back. It's been a minute. Where we left off was September 2022. I had just moved back to Utah and within days of doing so, had another reading with Peter, the psychic medium I'd spent so much time with in the previous 3.5 years. So Peter and I had a reading. You've already heard about that. This episode is a few days later. An early cold snap hit Utah. Rachel's building didn't have any heat, and it was a turn of the century building. It was decrepit. So I had to arrange with Jim to go back to the townhome to get some blankets and some warmer clothes. We had mutually agreed on a truce, no confrontation, no arguing, etc., etc. Jim also agreed to have all the financial documents I needed because I was not just going there for blankets and sweatshirts. I was going there for the divorce documents for financial disclosures. Many of you ladies already know about that. So he agreed to have the banking documents and tax documents and also my mail that had been accumulating while I'd been away. A couple months worth of mail all ready to go. So this is where we are. Thank you for being here. This is part 35A. I'm Sarah Wilder. This is the 9 lives of Sarah Wilder, surviving the man I married. Like I said, this had been a bit of a cold snap. It was early. Not only that, it was raining. So as I pulled out of the parking lot of Rachel's building in Salt Lake City, it was drizzling and it was really dark and early, and it was already going to, I knew, start to rain. I headed south for the 45-minute drive to American Fork, Utah, to my townhome. By the time I got there, it was raining pretty hard. I left my phone in the car because it was plugged in on the charger, put my purse on the floor, and headed into the house with my big 44-ounce Coke Zero and headed to the front porch, dashing the rain. The porch was lit, and as I started up the walkway, Jim popped open the front door to let me in. This is the first time I have seen Jim in person since I left. So the evening of July 6th was the last time I'd seen him. And so this is now the middle of September. So it was already very triggering, immediately triggering. So I go in the house, dust off. He's being very, very nice, very polite. He's minding all the rules we agreed on. He shows me the big soft-sided briefcase we'd had for about 15 years to use for important documents. I got that. And then he handed me a stack of my mail, all wrapped up in a rubber band and everything, just like he'd promised. But he wasn't the one to break the promise this time. He didn't fire the first shot. He wasn't the aggressive one this time at first. It was yours truly. I couldn't handle the trigger. It was too much. It was too much. Plus, what I just learned in the reading, I was still processing that. I was carrying it around with me. I hadn't even finished processing it. What I didn't realize is the safety was off. If I were a sidearm, my safety was off, and I had one in the chamber when I walked in the door, unfortunately. So in addition to just feeling on high alert and stressed and all these other things going on, I wanted to know where those banking documents were from the shady sale of the trailer. You'd already heard those episodes about how he sold my Jayco trailer very suddenly out of the blue for about $6,000 less than I had it listed for. And he did so with one phone call to a burner phone, I learned, and he spoke for 11 minutes. So the whole thing was shady. We've gone over this in like 3 episodes. So I want to know where those documents are. It had been 6 weeks since I asked him, and I wanted to know if he had them, and he didn't. And I didn't expect him to. Right away, very frustrated and angry with him. And I made him call the dealership because they were still open, and he got the general manager on the phone. And he warned the general manager of my volcanic mood. He warned him about what I wanted. And of course, guess what? Those warnings and those words meant more to me than 2 months earlier when he sold the trailer, because I had just had a reading with Peter a few days earlier where I learned more about why he sold the trailer and under the circumstances under which he did, which honestly I should just let it go because the whole thing was a giant cow turd, a steaming cow pie. But boy, I just stuck my hand and my foot and everything right in it. And I got him upset. And then the general manager got on the phone. And of course, he was a dick, very condescending, very arrogant. And so I lit into him, got out my blowtorch, and just took a flamethrower to his ass and lit him up. And we're going back and forth. And the whole time this whole confrontation is going on, Jim is getting more and more stressed. I was very comfortable on the topic of bank documents and purchase agreements, car sale, anything related to a transaction of a vehicle sale. Okay, so as I'm berating this guy and I'm going through my mail, I'm sorting through it's a big stack because I've been gone 2 months. Something catches my eye. All of a sudden, my hands cramp. My blood feels like it's turned to ice water. And I look at this envelope, and right away, my body knows what it is before my brain has comprehended. It's from Metropolitan Life Insurance, and it has my name on it. I open it up. It's a life insurance policy renewal for my $100,000 policy. We bought policies in 1992 when I was pregnant, a big one on him and a little one on me. Then the years went on and we just kept it. 2019, we divorced the first time. We were only divorced for 3 weeks, but he canceled both policies. That was part of the agreement. He said he did. I assumed he did. He didn't. And in the reading with Peter in the summer, in August, I think, or maybe it was September 2022, he mentioned something with finances and life insurance, something suspect Jim would do. And I was holding it in my hands. And the words from that reading were popping into my head, and veins were popping out of my neck and my temples. And I just lost my business. I did. So I ended my phone call with the general manager and just let him know, I know something's up. You guys are dirty and this isn't cool. That was a mutual asset, and half of the profits from that were mine, and I'm mad and I know what he's up to. It's all bullshit. I hang up and I turn my sights on Jim. And he's really just kind of, I think, spiraling at this point. At that point, I knew I recognized it, but I didn't care. To me, at that point, he was vulnerable prey, and I was moving in. For once, this is a complete reversal of fortunes. This has never happened in our marriage. At that point, we've been married 39 years and 1 month. And this is a complete first. So a face-to-face confrontation where I had the advantage. And I asked him to explain it to me. And again, stupid explanations, and they moved on into gaslighting. And the gaslighting was ridiculous and absurd. It wasn't even good storytelling. So I got even angrier with him. And I'm looking through the stack and I came across 2 more. So there's a total of 3 of these. So he can't say he didn't know about it or it's a mistake. And also, he must not have even read the addressee or read the cover of any of the mail. He just wrapped it all up and put a rubber band on it. And there was his doom. And please keep in mind, I had not reported the poisoning from Father's Day 2022 to the police yet. They were at my home. They were at my home for 37 minutes after the ambulance left and never came to see me at the hospital. They were bullshit. They were never going to help me. All they cared about was protecting his ass. So they were not on my radar, but holding that life insurance policy renewal and 3 of them in my hand, just rockets were going off. I was livid. I stood up from the dining room table. The chair went back. It didn't fall over, but I scraped it across the floor, grabbed the bag, grabbed my drink, shouted at Jim, I know exactly what you did in June. I have been thinking about it a lot. I know what you did. And this mail is exactly the proof I need. Not smart, not a smart move, not a good plan. So I grabbed the soft-sided briefcase. It's on my shoulder, it's on my left shoulder. Got my drink. My phone is in the car. He doesn't know that though. So, and I head for the front door and I'm like, blah, 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 word vomit. And he slips past me and blocks the door. And his arms stretched out are well over 6 foot, wings spread because he's 6'2". Anyway, he blocks the door and I said, get out of my way. I'm leaving. And he won't. He goes, nope. Drop the bag, leave the documents, leave the mail. No, I'll let you go, but you're leaving the documents. And I refused. I said, no, these are my financial documents as much as yours. I need them. You've had your turn with them. I'm representing myself. I'm keeping these. I need these. Get out of the way. I said, you've had this mail for months. You could have found those and you didn't. So they're mine now. And he wouldn't get out of the way. So I turned around, I swung around, and I ran for the back door. And keep in mind, the back door to this townhome and the front door were only about 18 feet, 20 feet apart. That's it. So I ran for the back door, and he ran and beat me to that. Wings right out, blocked the door, drop the bag. You can go, just drop the bag. I'm like, I'm not dropping the bag. So he reaches and he's pulling. So here I am, 5'4", This guy's 6'2.5". He's pulling on this strap, this wide nylon strap on this bag. I set my drink down. I kind of slam it down on this antique buffet table next to the door. It's low. And I look at him and I said, you let go of that bag and you let me out of this house. Or, and I look and I pick up the antique candy jars on the antique buffet table, and they're mine. I collect them. And I said, I'm going to smash every one of these jars until you get out of my way and let me out of this house. And he looks at me and he has the audacity say, you break that jar and I'm going to call the cops. And I laughed. I said, yeah, do it. Do it, buddy. Call the cops. Call the cops, because I'm going to tell them what's in my bag. And we're going to have a conversation right here and right then when they get here about Father's Day 2022, because I have some things to say to the cops as well. Go right ahead. And he wouldn't do it. So I grabbed the jar and I lobbed it underhand, just ploop, into the laundry room. And I've posted pictures after episode 23, part 23F. There are pictures of the inside of the townhome. You can see it from the kitchen into the laundry room, because that's where the oak flooring stopped and the tile started. And it smashed on that ceramic tile. And I did that because that's the exact tile where I lay when he poisoned me. And that's where the first candy jar, my favorite candy jar, pink depression glass, shattered. And he was like, don't, I'll call the cops. I said, please, I'll keep smashing until you either get out of the way or the cops get here. I take another jar, lob it underhand, boom. And that jar was a lot bigger and a lot heavier, and it just shattered all over the tile. And I ran for the front door again, and he blocked the front door. So I look around, a switch, something snapped, a switch went off, whatever. I went from fear and being just demanding to rage, just defense rage, self-defense rage. And I looked around, and that's when I noticed the high boy dresser I talked about. It was at the base of our main stairwell. Anyway, that high boy, he had gone to the garage, it looked like, since I'd been gone, dug through boxes, got all these wedding pictures of our married kids who didn't speak to him and hadn't for quite some time. He arranged like a diorama that made it look like he had these loving, happy Mormon family with these married kids and these beautiful pictures of these beautiful people that were his family. But it was a lie. And then I got even angrier when I saw what he'd put on the wall behind the high boy. He had moved the Jesus picture that was mine. I bought it some years ago. Very expensive, framed. You'll see a copy of it in every Mormon chapel in the land, everywhere in the whole world. But that one was mine. He moved it from the hallway, the front hallway, where you see it going upstairs and downstairs. So I wanted to see it the last thing when I go up to bed and the first thing in the morning. That's why it was hung where I hung it. He moved it to above the high boy, where it was a whole scenery. Anyone coming in the front door would think that man had a happy Christian Mormon family. And it was a big bullshit lie. And it, if possible, brought me from survival rage to incandescent, I'm about to do some damage rage. I'm going to leave it here. This is taking forever. Please catch me back here for part 35B. I'm Sarah Wilder. Thank you.